Be forgiven for wondering why someone who's running knowledge engineering and a range of business intelligence activities is standing in front of you talking about translational, let's get it right, translational informatics activities. I've been in AstraZeneca for the last 12 years and involved in bioinformatics, target selection, translational informatics activities. And over that period, we've seen massive changes, both in the software industry and as well as in the sector we work in. We've seen a large rise of supportable and professional open source services and software. And at the same time, inside our industry, we're seeing a lot of change regards to business models. You're seeing the rise of molecular medicine, a lot of translational informatics, trying to bring back observations in the clinic back into early discovery activities, and vice versa, driving predictive approaches into the clinic from the discovery knowledge. And at the same time, we're seeing a difference in the way we operate as companies. When I joined AstraZeneca, we were a very vertical stovepipe type organization. Now we're a much more federated, networked organization. A lot more of our portfolio is coming from outside. We're heavily involved in external collaborations, heavily involved in activities like IMI, and all this is creating challenge on how we maintain and develop information systems internally. Gone are the days where we build everything and maintain these systems internally, and that was sufficient. Invariably, our systems now need to support a range of activities, both with users internally and externally, and which is actually causing a challenge of how we actually share and collaborate with information beyond our firewalls. And so having lived through this period, I've been very keen to see change in the way we support our collaborative activities. And so when I saw the SRA, the Strategic Research Agenda for IMI, being published back in 2007, we saw an opportunity for a vision there of how open infrastructures could support private-public partnerships. However, when the knowledge management professionals got involved in IMI back in really 2008, we were quite late getting really involved from EFPIA. The focus was really around research activities, and the elephant in the room was really the service support for all the IMI calls. And that's partly because we didn't really know how to tackle that particular problem, and nor was it immediate pain for individuals inside the different companies. However, things changed really in 2010, and really what catalyzed this call and why I'm standing in front of you is three things. One is the RDG, the governance group of EFPIA, recognized the importance of informatics and knowledge management in encouraging and supporting and driving innovation in pre-competitive activities. Two, the pain became real with a number of IMI calls regards IMI knowledge management inside those calls, with individuals within the respective companies being called in to sort of provide support and direction of how they're going to manage the data and the analytics inside the individual calls. And three, a solution became evident, and that was really when J&J stepped up to the mark with the Transmart platform as part of the UBioPred project, and demonstrated, as Sándor will refer to later in this talk, how an open infrastructure could be used by third parties, both academics and commercials, to support translational research. And so really that catalyzed last December a conversation amongst a number of pharma partners, and which has basically led to this cool development over the last 6 months. So really, that's a really potted history and gives you some context. And the reason I am standing here is because I effectively acted as that catalyst, because I think as you've got from Anne's introduction, I'm quite well networked amongst the FPIA community in Europe. So really what this call is about and what we're trying to do is provide the data and knowledge management support for both the IMI calls we've got running now, future IMI calls, and potentially beyond that, other private-public partnerships. As we know, translational research is essential to gaining new insights into disease progression, biomarker discovery, patient stratification, safety interpretation, a lot of the activities which are hot topics in IMI cross-industry activities. Yet there's no stable, open, community-led knowledge management platform, but that's not really the killer issue. The killer issue, there's no service in place to support these projects, to support me the curation, the quality control, the data management, standards, best practice, the analytics that sits on top of this, and importantly, the long-term security of that information. What happens when these projects close? Where does that data end up? And this call here is actually designed to try to address this challenge. And really the logic for this is because without these systems, what the effect we believe is the increased cost and inefficiencies for each study, increased complexity in data interpretation, increased risk and loss of data post-project, increased risk of loss of data post-project, and a weak biomedical informatics community. So one of the things we've observed in both the biological and the bioinformatics community, and now increasing the chemoinformatics community, if data becomes available in a more open way, then you drive innovation, especially if that data is standardized. It drives innovation amongst the informatics and analytics communities. And what we believe, our hypothesis here, is if we start making more of this data available, then we'll drive innovation amongst the community of analytics and informatics. And you'll see improvements in the kind of methodologies and the algorithms that we could put over this kind of content. So the objectives of the project is really why we're trying to get to is a step change in the efficiency gains in cross-organization translational study project execution through a standardized quality translational knowledge management services. And part of this is providing a single point of access to standardized translational study information, sustainable, interoperable, collaborative, open translational research platform based on open agreed standards, and the development of an active translational analytics and informatics community through the development of the 2 points above. And the way we propose we take this forward is building on the experience of the UBioPred Round 1 call, which I mentioned earlier, and that's take the J&J infrastructure, which has been built on an open infrastructure in itself, the I2B2 platform, and take this platform and make this as the core of this call. So part of the objectives is to develop that infrastructure. Part is to provide the content, and so populate with existing and active TR study data. So we're proposing that we provide the service to a number of the IMI calls, and as I'll come on to, we're already doing that in a piecemeal manner right now. But also, where prioritized, go back and look at some of the historic translational research data and curate that. Development and adopt standards for translational research information. And as I say, provide these services to support the calls. And what we're talking about is consultation, curation support, historic data curation, platform maintenance, enhancements, code control, administration, exploitation support, training awareness. It's not a definitive list, but these is what we're referring to by services. And a smaller part of this call is the research. And really, so this is not so much a research call, it's about a services delivery. But we do expect some level of innovation and research on top of this platform. That may be in how we manage some of the content, some of the data modalities we're talking about. It may be in some of the analytics and workflows we need to build on top of this content. It may be in some of the visualization. So there is room for innovation in this call, but we've got to focus on this service provision and the security and management of this content.